Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm tired. How are you? How was your weekend?
It was good. Yes. It was really nice, but it was very busy.
Yeah. Well, you stay out of trouble that way, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How was your weekend?
It was okay. It was uneventful. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. Next weekend it'll be a different story.
What do you guys have going on next weekend?
Well, I'm going to go up to Montana with Kelsey, drive up there with her. She has to um, be up there by the 30th. So
Oh, tell her I said
I
congratulations.
will. I
That is
will.
so
Yeah,
exciting.
she's really excited. So I'm going to go up there with her and then take the bus home on Tuesday.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome. I'm
yeah.
so excited for her.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, so she starts right away then.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Oh, then good
She'll
for
she'll
her.
be she'll actually be working in Wyoming, but she has to meet them up in Bozeman and yeah, and have her orientation and stuff. But yeah,
That is so exciting.
I know. I know. She's really excited.
I
So
bet she is. Oh, tell her I
yeah,
said congratulations.
I will. Oh, she's sleeping right now.
Is she? Oh.
Just what I should be doing, but get me
All
started. I don't want to think about my bills anymore.
right. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Here we go. Ready? Satisfied, mistake, sample, stating, intended, field, length, pudding, informed, purchased, exactly, available, hair, snow, satisfaction, outside, properly, superintendent, lonesome, included, selling, figure, 50, perfectly, truth, west, keeping, inside. All right, names and addresses. Here we go. Bernadine F. Stickline, Stickline, Kaiser Foundation Health Plan, 600 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203. Arlena M. Bannon, Bannon, 908 East Penn Road, Hoopiston, Illinois, 60942. Patrick H. Kruger, Krueger, Presto Products, P.O. Box 2390, Appleton, Wisconsin, 54913. Carlos C. Caduff, Caduff, 415 Van Dyke Street, St. Paul, Minnesota, 55119. Sarah Jane Werner, Werner, 325 River Drive, Appleton, Louisiana, 70915. Sheila A. Graham, Graham, P.O. Box 863, Rye, Texas, 77369. Samuel L. Jarrett, Jarrett, Hackensack, New Jersey, 07601. Ryder R. Clark, C-L-A-R-K. Route 1, Box 39, Spout Springs, Virginia, 24593. Cynthia B. Tanner, Tanner, Allstate Insurance, Allstate Plaza South, Northbrook, Illinois, 60062. Okay, let's do some legal phrases. Here we go. Change of policy, agency relationship, unless prohibited, prior act performed, record high population, denotes legal authority, status, condition, and capacity, continue the relationship, Plaintiff's Exhibit 11B, heavy duty effort, appropriate to appropriation, mutuality of estoppel, recent public survey, reasonable and ordinary care, exercise of reasonable care, has failed to prove, informing your opinion, with bad purpose. All right, let's do some consonant compounds in sentences. Here we go. The dreadful dragonfly landed on her dress. The drifter drank so much draft beer that he became drunk. The dragster drove in the drag race at the drag strip. He drew the door prize after the dreadful drama. Drag lines are used for dredging. The draperies were draped right over the drain pipe. The dray ran over the droopy, dead dragon. She wore her new dress to the drive-in with her dream boat. The driver became drowsy while driving. The drought ended when the dreary drizzle drifted down. The baby dribbled and drooled after his drink. The drab draperies drove her to drink. The dragon used a drake to kill. Oh, let me say that again. The dragoon used a drake to kill the dragon. After the rain, her drenched dress drooped. The drunk drooled when he saw the draft beer. The drone of the drill was louder than the drums. Sheila drip-dried her drenched dress. He drank the draft beer because he was dry. Dracula dripped and dribbled blood on the drapes. It was a drastic way to drug the drunk. All right, let's do some Tangle Tamers. Here we go. School enrollment, persecution complex, bicycling maneuver, foreseeable future, held temporarily, earthquake resistant, nationwide offensive, Helicopters hovering. Seriously debilitated. Experimental procedure. Residential demobilization. Billion-dollar merger. Antitrust ruling. Mislabeled submissions. Effectiveness questioned. Treatment quarantine. Fiscally responsible. Health technician. Okay. I have a similar word practice for you. It's one of my favorites. And it focuses on whether, who, whose, why, while, which, where, whom, when, what drill. All of those little words that's so easily misstroked. Here we go. While you are here, tell me when you will need it. Put it where he said, whether you want to or not. Which person is shy is why I want to know. Where did the message come from? Whom did you mean when you said him? When they tell you which one it is, let me know. What did you see and where did you go? Why did you say that is what I wish to know? Where was the person whose name was called? Whose coat is this? So we'll know who will pick it up. Who will bring the food? And where will you put it? They brought whom to the party when they came? It is there whereof I speak about. She is the one who is whimsical. He cracked his whip when he saw the crook. Where was he when he whirled around? The white fence went around the wide yard. Which way did she go, and with whom? Whether or not they come is what I want to know. Where were you when I called him? They got married on a whim. I was whisked away when they arrested me. We drank whiskey, which we bought wholesale. With whom do you live, and where do you live? The elves whistled while they worked. I don't know whether they were home. She was a whiz kid when she was in school. The whooping crane whisked through the air with a whooping whoop. That is where it was when I saw it. The government owes a whopping big bill. Where were the cards? Okay, so there's another page, but we're going to stop there. Let me just date this. All right. We'll finish the back side tomorrow. All right. I have some sentences here, and they focus on the following briefs. Cross-examination is Crocs, K-R-O-X. Direct examination is Drex, D-R-E-X. In addition, N-A-D. Contract, K-R-A. Instruct, S-T-R-U-K-T. Police report, strike that, S-T-R-A-T. In this case, N-I-K. In that case, N-A-K. In the case, N-E-K. And then I just flag it if the word nick, knack, or neck comes up, because these come up a lot more often. And let's see, occupation. But I just write that as occupation. Okay. All right. So here are your sentences. In addition to the gun, they found several rounds of ammunition at the location. They brought their dog on the vacation in addition to their children. In addition to being late to the restaurant, he forgot his wallet. Direct examination was conducted by Mr. Williams. Her direct examination was very intense. There were many objections during the direct examination of the witness. Mr. Jones, do you have any cross-examination? Please listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen, to the cross-examination. The cross-examination lasted for several days. The contract was signed by all the parties present. We entered into a contract when we decided to lease the car. This contract was terminated on January 3rd, 2015. Please instruct your students to remain in their seats. I would like to instruct the members of the jury. They were instructed as to how to act during the meeting. Her instructions were quite clear. I gave you an instruction that night. One instruction given to the jury is to listen carefully to all of the evidence. Please look over the police report for any errors. The police report was written immediately after the accident. You must provide a police report to help collect your insurance. I may have had, strike that. Please strike that last answer, and I will begin again. The suspect was going north, south, strike that. The subject in this case is a tall, thin man. There are many exhibits in this case. In this case, you will find several conflicting reports. Well, what was the time recorded in that case? Please give me the suspect's name in that case. In that case, I want to know who you were with last Tuesday. In the case of the missing diamond, you must have expertise in fine jewels. What is the time of the accident in the case you are discussing now? I must know what witnesses you will provide in the case pending. What is your present occupation? His occupation seems to change each year. Can you please give your name and occupation for the record? All right, let's move into literary and jury charge.
I am drawing a total blank. What is witness again?
That's WNS.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Because I was doing weather, and yeah, I know that's, I just couldn't think of it. Okay. Thank you.
WNS. You are welcome.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so we're going to do some jury instructions. They're opening statements that we've been working on for a while. So it's a continuation.
I just have to tell you that outside my house, we've got these baby bunnies that are hopping around. It's so funny to watch them.
Oh,
I can see one right now in the grass. His ears are like really huge, but yeah, somebody had babies.
Bunnies are so cute.
They are.
It's too bad they eat our grass down to the dirt.
I know.
Gosh.
I know.
They're so cute.
Anyway, they're just hopping around out there.
So cute. All right. So we'll go ahead and we might be able to finish this today. All right. I'm going to start at 60 and I'll work my way to 100. Here we go. First degree sexual assault as defined in section 940.225 of the Criminal Code of Wisconsin is committed by one who has sexual intercourse with another person without consent and by use or threat of a dangerous weapon. Before you find the defendant guilty of this offense, the state must prove by evidence which satisfies you beyond a reasonable doubt that the following three elements were present. Number one, the defendant had sexual intercourse with Tracy Hall. Number two, Tracy Hall did not consent to the sexual intercourse. Number three, the defendant had sexual intercourse with Tracy Hall by use or threat of a dangerous weapon. This requires that the defendant actually used or threatened to use the dangerous weapon to compel Tracy Hall to submit to sexual intercourse. If you are satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that all three elements of first-degree sexual assault have been proven, you should find the defendant guilty. If you are not so satisfied, you must find the defendant not guilty. In reaching your verdict, examine the evidence with care and caution. Act with judgment, reason, and prudence. Defendants are not required to prove their innocence. The law presumes every person charged with the commission of an offense to be innocent. This presumption requires a finding of not guilty unless in your deliberations you find it is overcome by evidence which satisfies you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty. The burden of establishing every fact necessary to constitute guilt is upon the state. Before you can return a verdict of not guilty, the evidence must satisfy you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty. If you can reconcile the evidence upon any reasonable hypothesis consistent with the defendant's innocence, you should do so and return a verdict of not guilty. The term reasonable doubt means a doubt based upon reason and common sense. It is a doubt for which a person can be given, for which a reason can be given, arising from a fair and rational consideration of the evidence or lack of evidence. It means such a doubt as would cause a person of ordinary prudence to pause or hesitate when called upon to act in the most important affairs of life. A reasonable doubt is not a doubt which is based on mere guesswork or speculation. A doubt which arises merely from sympathy or from fear to return a verdict of guilty is not a reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt is not a doubt such as may be used to escape the responsibility of a decision, while it is your duty to give the defendant the benefit of every reasonable doubt. You are not to search for doubt. You are to search for truth. The lawyers will now make opening statements. The purpose of the opening statement is to give the lawyers an opportunity to tell you what they expect the evidence will show so that you can better understand the evidence as it is introduced during the trial. I must caution you, however, that the opening statements are not evidence. Mr. Kratz, Juror Covington, were you able to hear me when I gave these instructions? Wonder if that juror was not paying attention or something. All right, let's do some literary. All right, the subject here is the handicapped. Here we go. Mr. President, I am submitting a resolution with several of my distinguished colleagues that will hopefully serve to reinforce an awareness of the needs of American citizens who are handicapped. I would like to urge both houses of Congress to concentrate on legislative initiatives that will further assist all disabled Americans in their movement to join the mainstream of society. The time has come to begin to recognize the potential contributions that the 38 million handicapped Americans can make. For too long, we have emphasized the limitation of disabled individuals rather than giving them a chance to demonstrate their capabilities. During the past decade, we have made great strides in eliminating the barriers which have prevented the handicapped from circulating freely in our society. Ambitious programs which allow the disabled persons greater accessibility to public and private buildings and transportation systems have been introduced, along with the elimination of physical barriers. Industry must learn to recognize the abilities of the handicapped. The intent of the resolution is to heighten public awareness of the problems faced by this country's handicapped people. As members of Congress, we can encourage the integration of the handicapped into the mainstream of society by introducing legislative initiatives that will create employment opportunities for the disabled American. Mr. President, we are at a key point in time. We need to continue to foster a true awareness and a keener understanding of the obstacles that exist in community life for the handicapped individual. I ask for unanimous consent to have this resolution considered to establish a committee to study the problems of the handicapped and their integration into the industrial workforce. Let's make it our resolution to continue to open the doors for all handicapped Americans. All right. Go ahead and get started with some Q&A. We'll start at 60 and work our way to 100. Okay. And it looks like plaintiff is questioning. All right, here we go. Let me just wind my watch up. Okay, there we go. Can you estimate the amount of time from the point that Deputy Ramos found that one bag of the moist item and when Detective Hogan arrived? Well, I would estimate when he found that to when Detective Hogan arrived, maybe an hour to 2 hours. And then how much later was it before the crime lab, and specifically, I'm talking about John Masters, arrived? In relation to Detective Hogan? Well, I would say the crime or John Masters arrived about 2 hours after Detective Hogan. So 3.5 to 4 hours from the time Deputy Ramos found the, that's the best I recall. Again, my estimation. Now, as part of your investigation, did you interview Defendant Patterson? Yes, I did. Did you read her Miranda rights? Yes, I did. Did that include a right to an attorney? Yes. Did that include a right to remain silent? Yes. Did she indicate she understood those rights? Yes. Did she indicate she was willing to speak to you? Yes. What, if anything, did she tell you about the meth pipe you found outside? She admitted when she saw us arriving at the residence, she tossed it on the ground. Did you ask her what you would find inside of the house? Yes, I did. What, if anything, did she say? She said there may be additional pipes and possibly the methamphetamine she smoked earlier. Did she say how much methamphetamine? I don't recall specifically. Now, in preparation of your testimony today, did you contact the Oxnard Crime Lab? Yes, I did. Did you speak to John Masters? Yes, I did. Did he tell you what his title was? Yes. What was that? He's a criminalist too. Did he tell you what his educational background was? Yes, he has a BS from USC in chemistry. Okay. Did he tell you what his formal training was? Yes, he has 6 months in lab training, and I believe could I refer to my report to, if that would refresh your recollection? Yes, it would. With the court's permission? Yes, you may. He has 6 months in-house training in controlled substances, and also 6 months in methamphetamine labs. How long on the job experience? About 9 years. Did he tell you how many methamphetamine lab cases he's been involved in? Yes, approximately 100 to 110. Now, has he testified as an expert in identifying methamphetamine? Yes. How about marijuana? Yes. How about methamphetamine labs themselves? In a lab, just in a preliminary hearing? Okay. Now, in this particular case, did he analyze a substance or a group of items packaged under lab number 17-15-303? Yes. Under Oxnard Sheriff's Department report number 721701-894. Yes, he did. Did he tell you what names were on the packaging when it was received? Yes. What were the names? As far as names of defendants or suspects? Oh, yes. Heidi Patterson and Thomas Myers. Did you say Thomas Myers? That's my recollection, Thomas Myers. Would reviewing your report refresh your recollection? Yes, it would. With the court's permission? Yes, you may. I'm sorry, Sean Thomas Myers. Did he tell you the offense date on? Yes, he did. What was that? I don't recall specifically. If I could refer to my report, if that would refresh your recollection. The offense date was September 15th, 2014. Did he tell you when he analyzed the items? October 17, 2014. Thank you. Now, items that were numbered, they were numbered, correct? Yes. I'm going to skip over 101 for now. Items 102, 103, and 107. Did he analyze any of those items? Yes, I believe he analyzed all of those. What were items 102, 103, and 107? I'm sorry, what test did he? Could I refer to my report if that would refresh your recollection? Yes, you may. On those three items, 102, 103, and 107, he performed a microscopic exam as well as a chemical test. Did he have an opinion as to what the substances were in all those items? Yes, he believed they were marijuana. Okay. And did he weigh in all those items? Yes, he believed they were marijuana. Okay. As far as 102, what was the net weight of item 102? Again, if I could refer to my notes, if that would refresh your recollection, yes, it would. Yes, you may. Number item 102 was 8.16 grams. How about item 103? Well, that would be 9.62 grams. And how about 107? That would be 8.45 grams. And all of that was marijuana? Correct. Now, items 104 and 105. What test did he perform on those? Again, if I could refer, if he could have an ongoing allowance for that, Your Honor, yes, an ongoing allowance is fine. Thank you. On these, he performed a color test, a microcrystal test, and a thin layer. Sorry, I'm not a scientist. Chromograph, or something like that. And did he tell you what the results of those tests were? Yes. All three of these items contained, both of these two items contained methamphetamine. Okay, now specifically with item 104, what was the weight of that item? That was 4.52 grams. And now the 105, what was the weight of that item? 9.88 grams. Okay, and now as to item 105, was that the particular one that Deputy Ramos testified to that was damp or moist? Yes, it is. So that was 9.88 grams. Yes, it is. Did you ask Mr. Masters if the test appeared valid and unexceptional? Yes, he did, and they did. What did he say? Yes. And the tests he performed currently are accepted in the scientific community? Yes, they were. Were these done in accordance with his training and experience? Yes, they were. His opinion as to the three suspected methamphetamine, what was that? That all three items were methamphetamine. And the two that were suspected methamphetamine, what was his opinion? those two contained methamphetamine. And based on Mr. Masters' experience with methamphetamine labs, did you ask him about the items that he tested, that Deputy Ramos testified was moist? Yes, I did. Did you ask him about why it would have been dry and what that meant? Yes, I did. What was that? What did he say? He said a part of the process is to wash methamphetamine with the acetone. And it was possible that when Deputy Ramos touched the suspected methamphetamine, that it could have been moist because acetone dries very rapidly, and it would be very common for it to be dry several hours later when Mr. Masters came on the scene to collect the evidence. But did he testify that would be a stage of processing? Yes, he did. Thank you. I have nothing further. Oh, I do. I'm sorry. I take that back. It appears based on the two that he had slightly over 13 to 14 grams of methamphetamine found. Yes. Did you perform or form an opinion whether that was possessed for sales? Yes, I did. What is that opinion? I believe based on the quantity of methamphetamine and the other items located in the residence there, that it was possession for sales. Thank you. I have nothing further, Your Honor. Mr. Waltz? Thank you, Your Honor. Deputy, when you wrote your report, you indicate on, I don't see a page number here, unfortunately, but you indicate on what seems to be the second page of your narrative in a separate container. I located a coffee filter which contained a like crystalline substance. Is that correct? If I could refer to my report, if it would refresh your recollection, it would. Yes, you may. Yes, that's correct. Yet we just heard Deputy Ramos testify a minute ago. It was, in fact, he who located that, right? Yes, initially located it and pointed it out to me. So when I mentioned that in my report, I was implying all of that. Okay, well, you didn't actually indicate in your report that Deputy Ramos located the coffee filter, then brought it to your attention, did you? I did not put that in my report, no. Okay, however, later on in your report, you do specifically give Deputy Ramos credit for being the one who tested the substance found, right? That's correct. Okay, you also interviewed a young man by the name of, what's his name? Let's see. Mason, the son of Sean Myers. You interviewed the son of Sean Myers, correct? Yes. You asked him about smelling any chemical odors in the house, right? Yes. He indicated he did not smell any chemical odors in the house. Is that right? Yes, that's correct. He indicated he lived in the house about 8 months. Correct? Yes. He indicated he never saw any glassware or large beakers in the home. Right? That's correct. All right, we'll do some read back.
I actually have to go, Jill. My son has a minimum day today, so
Okay.
I've got to get out. But
have a great rest of your day.
Okay, you too. I'll talk to you soon.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye. All right, so let's do some read back. And again, the first time I will do this, read this at 100, then at 80, and then at 60, okay? This is defense questioning. Here we go. Now, first of all, this document was prepared by you. Was it not? Yes, sir, it was. And it was prepared on March 18. Yes, sir, it was. And it recites a series of discussions that you had with Mr. Stanton and others, starting on about March 16, doesn't it? That's correct. All right. I want you to tell us in your own words, starting with Monday, March 16, the circumstances. First of all, did you attend a meeting on that date with Mr. Weeks in Mr. Stanton's office? Part of the meeting was in his office. Yes, sir. All right. Suppose you tell us what occurred at that time. At the meeting? Yes, sir. Mr. Weeks asked that we accompany him to meet with Mr. Stanton to confirm that we were asking him to put in additional funds or sell the store. I think that he felt at the time that Mr. Stanton would want us to back him up because he didn't feel that he would have believed him. That's what Mr. Weeks told me. All right, please tell us what occurred on that evening. Well, we met at Mr. Stanton's office. It was suggested because of the hour that we go downstairs to the restaurant in the building and have dinner and talk over dinner, which we did. All right, will you tell us the substance of the conversation? I really can't remember what was said. I can give you pretty much the substance, but that's going back 2 years. Well, just tell us the substance of it, because I assume you are going to have to testify about this for your own counsel. You might as well tell us the substance of it. I told them that night that I was unable to give them any figure at that time. Mr. Weeks and his accountant had been working on it, and Mr. Weeks had the figures to give to them. Was anything else said at that time? Well, it went almost 5 years. There was a lot said, but I understand. But was there anything else said in substance at that time? No. All right. So we'll do that again at 80 words per minute. Here we go. Now, first of all, this document was prepared by you. Was it not? Yes, sir, it was. And it was prepared on March 18? Yes, sir, it was. And it recites a series of discussions that you had with Mr. Stanton and others starting on about March 16, doesn't it? That's correct. All right. I want you to tell us in your own words, starting with Monday, March 16, the circumstances. First of all, did you attend a meeting on that date with Mr. Weeks and Mr. Stanton's office? Part of the meeting was in his office. Yes, sir. All right. Suppose you tell us what occurred at that time. At the meeting? Yes, sir. Mr. Weeks asked that we accompany him to meet with Mr. Stanton to confirm that we were asking him to put in additional funds or sell the store. I think that he felt at the time that Mr. Stanton would want us to back him up because he didn't feel that he would have believed him. That's what Mr. Weeks told me. All right, please tell us what occurred on that evening. Well, we went or met at Mr. Stanton's office. It was suggested because of the hour that we go downstairs to the restaurant in the building and have dinner and talk over dinner, which we did. All right. Will you tell us the substance of the conversation? I really can't remember what was said. I can give you pretty much the substance, but that's going back 2 years. Well, just tell us the substance of it, because I assume you are going to have to testify about this for your own counsel. You might as well tell us the substance of it. I told them that night that I was unable to give them any figure at that time. Mr. Weeks and his accountant had been working on it, and Mr. Weeks had the figures to give them. Was anything else said at that time? Well, it went almost 5 hours. There was a lot said, but I I understand. But was there anything else said in substance at that time? No. All right, so let's do one last take at 60 words per minute. All right, here we go. Now, first of all, this document was prepared by you. Was it not? Yes, sir, it was. And it was prepared on March 18. Yes, sir, it was. And it recites a series of discussions that you had with Mr. Stanton and others, starting on about March 16, doesn't it? That's right. All right. I want you to tell us in your own words, starting with Monday, March 16, the circumstances. First of all, did you attend a meeting on that date with Mr. Weeks in Mr. Stanton's office? Part of the meeting was in his office. Yes, sir. All right. Suppose you tell us what occurred at that time. At the meeting? Yes, sir. Mr. Weeks asked that we accompany him to meet with Mr. Stanton to confirm that we were asking him to put in additional funds or sell the store. I think that he felt at the time that Mr. Stanton would want us to back him up because he didn't feel that he would have believed him. That's what Mr. Weeks told me. All right. Please tell us what occurred on that evening. Well, we met at Mr. Stanton's office. It was suggested because of the hour that we go downstairs to the restaurant in the building and have dinner and talk over dinner, which we did. All right. Will you tell us the substance of the conversation? I really can't remember what was said. I can give you pretty much the substance, but that's going back 2 years. Well, just tell us the substance of it, because I assume you are going to have to testify about this for your own counsel. You might as well tell us the substance of it. I told them that night that I was unable to give them any figure at that time. Mr. Weeks and his accountant had been working on it, and Mr. Weeks had the figures to give to them. Was anything else said at that time? Well, it went almost 5 hours. There was a lot said, but I understand. But was there anything else said in substance at that time? No. Okay, so since we don't have any live students in the live class, I'm going to ask you to go back and reread the set that you decide to read your notes back. It might be all 3 sets, but make sure you do read the one that you're going to read your notes with to make sure that that take is exactly the correct one, because, you know, I might have said a different word in one of the takes. So you want to make sure and have the correct take when you're looking at your notes and comparing that. Okay, so that concludes our Lower Speeds Live class. Have a wonderful day.